अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्ता नारायण गोस्वामी नित्यनामिने। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य कृपाय कविता या मर्यादा रक्षति वैष्णवानां कृपावलं माधव प्रेष्ठकामी श्रीभक्तिदं भारतीम् आश्रयामः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि श्री गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So I'm first of all offering my most humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Srila Gurudev. Nitya Lila Parivishtam Vishnu Padasto Tarasata Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, and unto the lotus feet of my most worshipable Diksha Gurudev, Nitya Lila Parivishtam Vishnu Padasto Tarasata Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Srila Bharti Goswami Maharaj, unto my Siksha Gurudevs, unto all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are, were, and will be, and unto the participants of the Shri Rupa Goswamipada Tirubhavtiti Maha Mahotsav Conference 2020. I offer my Dandavat Pranams unto all of you. Hare Krishna. So I've been requested to make this offering, though I'm feeling extremely shy and very unqualified to do so. I'm hoping that by the mercy of Srila Gurudev and the Vaishnavas, who are very kind and merciful, that they provide me with the words that I may offer this Shraddha Pushpanjali unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. So the topic that I wanted to cover is, what is Sri Rupanuga Vicara-Dhara? So vichar means conceptions, dhara means current. So even though our parampara, this Bhagavad parampara, which is based on the line of Siksha, that many of our acharyas, they may not have physically met one another. That even other Vaishnavas who, they may be in different sampradayas. But the concepts, the ideas, the feelings, the innermost heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but also of Srila Rupa Goswami, is flowing in a current seamlessly like a stream of honey from into the hearts of one Vaishnav to another Vaishnav and into the heart of another Vaishnav and so on. So even if someone is in a different sangha or someone is in a different sampradaya, that if they are following this Rupanuga Vicara-Dhara, they automatically are in our sampradaya, this Rupanuga sampradaya. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj has mentioned this, that this sampradaya is not only known as, this Madhva Gaudiya Saraswati sampradaya, but it is specifically Rupanuga sampradaya in this particular line. So Srila Gurudev, he mentions that with this verse, Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam, that Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his mercy, he infused in the heart of Srila Rupa Goswami his own internal desire. He gave all of the spiritual truths, all of the shastric conclusions into the heart of Srila Rupa Goswami. And in turn, Srila Rupa Goswami was able to, by the Lord's mercy, to understand the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so some might think, Srila Gurudev has also addressed this many times, that some might think that we are Narayan Goswami Anuga or Prabhupada Nuga, but this is not what our Guru Jan has come to give. This is not what our Guru Varga has come to give. They have come to establish Rupanug Bhajan. Yes, absolutely, we should have very strong, firm Guru Nishtha. This should be unbreakable. We should have strong Acharya Nishtha. Being fully aware that our Gurudev and our Guru Varga are Rupanug. So thus we are praying at their lotus feet that we want to be offered at the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. We're praying at their lotus feet that they allow us to be offered there. So we should really be thinking like this, that we're having very specific dedication, one-pointedness unto and loyalty and chastity to our Gurudev. But our Gurudev is also coming into disciplic session and is Rupanug. And thus, by being Rupanug, it's almost a slap in the face if we're only just saying, okay, only my Gurudev, my Gurudev, my Gurudev, and we're removing him from the disciplic succession. That this is not so. And it is, I'm sure, a form of aparad. So Srila Gurudev goes on to explain who Shri Rup Manjari is, and also in this specific line of Rupanug Bhajan, that what is Rupanuga. So he mentions that those who are following in the manner and mood of Srila Rup Manjari, or Shri Rup Manjari, excuse me, and are in the same mood and perform the same devotional activities of Srila Rupa Goswami at the time of practice, as in their sadhak roop, that they are only Rupanug. That following in the way of Shri Rup Manjari serves Srimati Radhika and Shri Krishna, being more inclined to Srimati Radhika, happiness, feeling happy in the happiness of Shri Radha, and suffering with her when she suffers, that this is what Rupanuga means. This is real Rupanug Bhajan. And so we also understand that in other rasas as well, Sakhya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, that they can also attain a certain level of Rupanug, but it's not full-blown Rupanug, only in part. And Srila Gurudev even explains that maybe not even considered Rupanug, that only Raganug. So we have very, very special fortune, very special mercy, that we are in this line and we have had the opportunity to take initiation. But this Rupanuga Vicara-Dhara is not simply based on initiation, as we explained before. That even if this is Bhagavad Parampara, this is based on Siksha line, that even so, whether one is a Siksha disciple, Diksha disciple, Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru, does not matter. That the current of the concepts of Srila Rupa Goswami can flow anywhere. Just like tributaries that are coming off of a river, they can start to branch out and flow in so many different directions. And in the same way, this type of bhajan, this type of concept, because it is flowing from the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and naturally it is fully understood, it has been essentially manifest through the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, that this mercy cannot be contained. This bhajan, this practice cannot be contained. So Similarly, just as tributaries, they flow in their own directions from away from the river. Same thing also. The mercy is very broad when it comes to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He can cast his mercy anywhere. The rainfall, if we're reading from Sri Madhurya Kadambini, that this comes everywhere. There's no discrimination between, who is of higher caste or lower caste, high class, low class, who is a bird, who is a this, who is a that. No consideration. It's all for all and all. And same thing also whenever we see the sun, that the sun does not discriminate that, I will not shine here and I will only shine here. So the same thing also with this Rupanug Bhajan, this Rupanug Vicara-Dhara, it's flowing everywhere and it cannot be contained. So when we're thinking like this, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Guru to make us eligible to serve, to sit at the lotus feet of those who are Rupanug, and to also sit at the lotus feet of Sri Rup Manjari, that this is actually Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam, that we're praying to Srila Rupa Goswami that when will you give me the dust of your lotus feet and make me eligible to serve. So we're praying like this to Sri Guru, that, O Srila Gurudev, that when will you make me eligible in order to serve Srila Rupa Goswami like this. And we also see in Srila Narottam Das Thakur's bhajans, he does one bhajan on Rupanug Mahatmya, and also obviously very famously Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, which is sung, it was sung by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj at the disappearance Leela of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and also the disappearance Leela of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, our Srila Prabhupada, that it was also sung very beautifully by our beloved Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj. So this bhajan, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he mentions that this Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he gives us the light of the highest quarter of bhajan, which is unto Srila Rupa Goswami. That this is the level of service that we want to attain. Our Param Gurudev also mentions that to be able to spread Hari Kirtan, meaning Kirtan of the Lord's Nam, Rup, Gun, Leela, associates, and so on, Parikar, that this Hari Kirtan, this Kirtan of all varieties, including the speciality of the Lord, this is Rupanug Bhajan. That those who are not propagating Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, those who are not propagating or even helping to propagate, he also mentions, that he says very strongly that they are ignorant of what of anything in regards to Rupanug Bhajan. They're ignorant of it. So these are very, very strong words, but we're hoping and praying that we can become eligible and not be ignorant of these types of things. So I wanted to go on and discuss, sorry, I have different notes here. Also, I wanted to discuss about Rupa Raghunath, because many times we hear how our aim and objective is Rupa Raghunath, and to follow the Anugatya of Rupa Raghunath, that if we cannot follow in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, we cannot serve or think about serving Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. So I just want to read where Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he's glorifying Sri Rupa Goswami, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is considering and holding the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. He is considering Srila Rupa Goswami, he considers him his life and soul. He considers him his Gurudev. So we are also very fortunate that we can read the teachings of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. He as I mentioned before, he considers Srila Rupa Goswami to be his life and soul, and that Srila Rupa Goswami is his guru, because he received everything from Srila Rupa Goswami. So he says, and this is in his first verse in his pranam unto Srila Rupa Goswami, that my dear Sakhi Rup Manjari, you are well known in Raj for not even looking at the face of another man other than your husband. Therefore, it is surprising that your lips, red like bimba fruits, have been bitten even though your husband is not home. Has this been done by one of the best of parrots? So, in a very joking manner, Das Goswami is saying like this to Shri Rup Manjari in his eternal form as a Manjari, as Rati Manjari or Tulsi Manjari. And so, like this, we see how Srila Rupa Manjari is, really she in this way, is tadatmik or tadatmya with Srimati Radhika. That they appear so similar that even Shri Krishna becomes confused, thinking that, is this Shri Radha, my beloved, or is this Shri Rupa Manjari? And so the Manjaris, they, headed by Shri Rupa Manjari, they have no desire for performing any activity which is not under the direct instruction and guidance of Srimati Radhika. And so the only time that they have darshan, of Shri Krishna is when he is in the accompaniment of Srimati Radhika. So when we see this, that there's this ekanishtha towards Srimati Radhika, this is the highest form, the almost the pinnacle of Rupanuga Bhajan. To be able to sit at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa Manjari and to be able to become eligible to participate in all of those activities that the Manjaris perform, and to be invited to also participate in this way. Srila Gurudev mentions that there's no relation of Guru or Sambandha of Gurudev in the spiritual realm, that only that of a Priya Sakhi. So when we're thinking that in the spiritual realm, and I'm not having any realization of this, so please forgive me if I'm incorrect about this, but when we are serving in this way, if this is our particular Sai Bhav, and if we are eligible for this, if this is our particular ras that we are serving in Madhurya ras, then naturally we will be invited to serve in this way by other Priya Sakhis, and that may be in the form of Guru Manjari, as in the form of our Gurudev. But he is not going to be recognizable as our Gurudev, that he will be a Priya Sakhi, and so, but we will be invited to perform all of these sevas, because essentially our particular form is still always das anudas anudas. Even if it's dasi anudasi anudasi, we're always going to be under the anugatya and under the guidance. So thinking like this, that in a similar way and manner, that we as disciples, that we're also not only desiring to follow in the footsteps of our Gurudev, or also to be under the anugatya or shelter of our Srila Gurudev, that we're also desiring to be under the anugatya of those who are very nikat to Sri Guru, those who are near and dear to Sri Guru. And we're also desiring to realize the internal mood and heart's desire of Sri Guru. But moreover, we are having this desire to become tadatmik or tadatmya with our Gurudev, and thus also with our Gurujan and Guru Varga. So we are not only aspiring for, I'm just making this relation from reading this verse of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, that it is also, and I'm speaking mostly for myself, that in order for us to really become close to our Gurudev, Srila Gurudev mentions that we should become, or we should have, this Sri Guru Mano Abhishtam, that we should want to know and have this keen desire to want to know exactly what Srila Gurudev wants at all times, even before he asks for it. And so when we're reading about Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam, and we're seeing that, Srila Rupa Goswami, that he is fully knowing and fully conversant with the heart and the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we're also desiring as disciples, and by we I do mean I, also are desiring of this, to understand and to be tadatmik with our Gurudev, because only through our Gurudev and Gurudev's mercy is it possible to fully understand and to be conversant with the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami, because our Gurudev is Rupanug, and Rupanug and Rupanug and Rupanug. So really to be conversant with the Vani of Srila Rupa Goswami, which all of our acharyas have come to give, that we should desire to become like this, and then naturally to also want to become very nika to Sri Rupa Raghunath. So kind of my last thing on this is with regard to this Rupanuga Vicara-Dhara, which we discussed earlier, as being flowing, the concepts, the feelings, everything of Srila Rupa Goswami's heart are flowing from the hearts of one Vaishnav to another. So it's very reminiscent of the verse Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati, that which was quoted by Srila Rupa Goswami in Padyavali, that the translation for this is pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be even attained by pious activities in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can only be obtained by paying one price, that is intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. So our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he translated the words Krishna consciousness from this verse, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamiti. And so this is really what real ISKCON is, that this is what Rupanuga Vicara-Dhara is. The concepts are flowing from the heart of one Vaishnav to another. So when I'm thinking about this verse, that the price to pay is this lolium, this greed for it. It's not that we are kind of lazily walking and, just by chance we see a Vaishnav and, we're giving respects. No, that we're very eagerly, almost like with our hair on fire, we're running to that place where this bhakti ras, this Rupanuga Vicara-Dhara is flowing. We want to be there. That's where the party is at, essentially. We don't want to be anywhere where it's not. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that he gave this instruction, that to final instruction to his disciples before entering Nitya Leela, that he wanted his disciples to very eagerly and enthusiastically preach this Rupa Raghunath Vani throughout the world. And that this is our life and soul, to become a speck of dust at the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. That this Shri Rupa Pada Dhuli, that Dhuli means dust. And so we want to be a speck of dust. And also that we want to be Shri Rupanuga Pada Dhuli, that we want to be a speck of dust at the lotus feet of those who are followers, like our Gurudev of Srila Rupa Goswami. So, and obviously I already mentioned about, Srila Gurudev mentioning how we should have this strong Sri Guru Mano Abhishtam, and he also says very strongly that he says if you are qualified, but I'm going to replace you with I, because I'm not qualified. If I am not qualified to know, I am not a disciple, and am only a disciple outwardly. And in all honesty, this is my true identity. I am only a disciple outwardly. So when, sorry, this is like two last things. Sorry. So when we're thinking of Sri Gaudavani Pracharine, which is in the Pranam Mantra of our Srila Prabhupada, that Gaudavani Pracharine is Rupanuga Vicara-Dhara. Because through the teachings of Sri Rup, then we can understand the teachings of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Srila Prabhupada, he stayed in Sri Radha Damodar Mandir for a number of years, or for quite some time before heading to the West in 1965. He stayed opposite of the Samadhi Mandirs and Bhajan Kutir when he was translating so many books, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And in doing so, one of the residents of Sri Radha Damodar Mandir would hear weeping very loudly in the courtyard of Sri Rupa Goswami's Samadhi Mandir and Bhajan Kutir. And this was our Srila Prabhupada at that time as Abhay Charanarabinda. And he was sweeping in front of the Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir. And he was crying out very, almost desperately, Daya karo, kripa karo, Daya karo, kripa karo. So Srila Prabhupada is very much Rupanuga. And Srila Gurudev also mentioned this, that your Srila Prabhupada, to the other disciples of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, that your Prabhupada is Rupanuga, Rupanuga, Rupanuga. Srila Prabhupada also mentions that his room in Radha Damodar Mandir is his eternal residence. He does not say like this at any other location, whether in Bombay, Mayapur, Los Angeles, any other place. He only mentions this within Radha Damodar Mandir. But why is this? He is giving a hint, because within Radha Damodar Mandir is situated in the gully of Seva Kunj. And so he is essentially saying that this is my eternal residence, that this is my eternal service, and this is where I eternally reside always. And so this is the reason why Srila Gurudev, or one of the reasons why Srila Gurudev was so very staunch about saying how Srila Prabhupada is a Manjari and that he is Rupanug, 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 and that giving this definition of what is Rupanug, as in having this being Tadatmik, which Srimati Radhika, that only, or that being more inclined towards Srimati Radhika, and those who are having darshan of Shri Krishna, they're only having darshan when Krishna is in the accompaniment of Srimati Radhika, that even Shri Krishna is craving for the association of the Manjaris, because they're very nikat and very near and dear to Srimati Radhika. So even he wants to have their darshan. So, very last thing, I just wanted to read this, the question which was asked to Srila Gurudev, and it is, the question is, what is Sri Rupanuga Dhara, the current of conceptions of the followers of Sri Rupa? And this gives a really nice summation of everything that I probably botched, but everything that I made the attempt to offer. And so there's no one better than Srila Gurudev to speak on this. So I wanted to leave you with this. So the answer that Srila Gurudev gives is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is himself Brajendra Nandan Sri Krishna, the son of the king of Braj. Although Sri Krishna is the Vishai, or the object of prem, he donned the mood and bodily complexion of Srimati Radhika and advented in this world in order to taste for himself Unnata Ujjwala Prem Ras, the refulgent quintessence of the mellows of the divine love that is relished only by the ashray, abode of that frame, and to deliver to the world for the first time a taste of these moods. In this manifestation of Sri Gaud, he personally relished Unata Ujjvala Premras, which constitutes the moods of Sri Radha, and then imparted instructions to his dear associate Srila Rupa Goswami on the step-by-step process of relishing the transcendent essence of that Premras. Furthermore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu imbued Srila Rupa Goswami with his potency. Thus empowered by Sriman Mahaprabhu and edified by his teachings, Srila Rupa Goswami, concerned for the welfare of the world and wanting its inhabitants to dive into the ocean that is the nectar of devotion and find the brilliant sapphire there, he wrote, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Ujjwal Nilamani, Dhan Keli Komudi, Hamsaduta, Udhav Sandesh, Vidagda Madhav, Lalit Madhav, Padyavali, Stavamala, and numerous other books, thereby ushering into the world a current of nectarian devotion, which brims with supreme wonder, and which is ever fresh, each portion being perfect and complete in itself. That current is still flowing today, uninterrupted, through Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Jeev Goswami, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, and Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami. In the present era, this line of thought is also referred to as Sri Bhaktivinoda Dhara, and is the purest tradition for worshipping the divine couple, Sri Sri Radha Krishna. The line of thought of Srila Rupa's followers entails wholeheartedly adopting the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami, who was the crown jewel of the Rasiks and the personal companion of Bhagavan, as well as the standards of conduct he personally observed, the philosophical nuances he outlined, and the sequential process of bhajan. For those faithful individuals who want to relish Krishna Prem as practiced and preached by Srimad Mahaprabhu, it is extremely necessary to be in the guidance, anugatya, of Srila Rupa Goswami. Without the guidance of Srila Rupa Goswami, it is utterly impossible to taste the essence of Unata Ujjvala Ras. There is no other path to that goal. So I'm praying at the lotus feet of my most beloved Srila Gurudevs, Nityalera Pravishtam Vishnu Padasto, Tarasata Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Srila Bharti Goswami Maharaj, that they please shower their mercy on me, that I may be able to serve in this way and be able to understand even just a tiny ounce of any realization of the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, and that also that Srila Rupa Goswami, that he give us his mercy, and obviously naturally he has through the mercy of our Gurudev and Guru Varga. So vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyaye vacha patitanam bhavanevyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavas ki jai, jai jai Shri Radhe Sham. Hare Krishna.